Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a massive fundamental shift in how we interact with technology. We're going to uncover how a totally decentralized early internet utopia was essentially, well, stolen from us. But more importantly, we're looking at the tangible, practical ways you can use local hardware to actually take it back. Okay, let's dive into this. Look at this provocative quote from OS News. It perfectly captures a huge historical pivot. Back in the early 1990s, the vision for the internet was truly peer-to-peer. It was built around autonomous users directly sharing information with each other, completely free from massive central servers. But that vision of owner autonomy, it got completely derailed. The sources we're looking at argue that once tech companies realized they could extract way more wealth through subscriptions, they aggressively shifted the whole ecosystem. They moved it away from empowering local ownership and pushed it toward proprietary centralized services that they could control perfectly. It is quite literally the future they stole from us. Which brings us to a rather uncomfortable question. So, why are we renting our digital lives? I mean, seriously, think about it. Most of us just passively pay these monthly fees to massive tech monopolies just to access our own private data, our own memories, our own computing power. We've basically accepted a system where a sudden, arbitrary change in a corporate terms of service could lock us out of our own digital history overnight. It's a massive, fundamental loss of ownership. Actually, to understand how we got here, let's trace this evolution, because this definitely didn't happen by accident. Back in the 1960s, ARPANET started as this highly decentralized host-to-host network. It was actually designed to survive a nuclear attack by entirely avoiding a single point of failure. But fast forward to the 1990s, and the World Wide Web introduces the client-server model. Then, as the 2000s rolled around, computing power was essentially pulled out of our homes and centralized into massive corporate data centers, the cloud. And now, research warns we're hurtling toward a 2026 great enclosure. The raw, unprecedented power needed for artificial intelligence is so massive that it's being locked entirely behind these walled corporate gardens. Just look at how visually stark the bottleneck is here. This structure perfectly shows exactly how the power dynamic flipped. By controlling those central pipes and databases, tech intermediaries created what researchers call digital tenancy. We stopped being free explorers on an open wild network and became, well, mere tenants. We don't hold the deed to our digital homes anymore. We're just renting the privilege of access from centralized gatekeepers. The researchers use this really fascinating historical framework to describe this massive power grab. They call it the 1689 breach. They argue that this isn't just some technological shift, it's actually a sociological regression. Just like pre-constitutional monarchs hoarding all the power, these modern agentic kings use a tricky mechanism called an interface inversion. To put it simply, instead of you using a tool, the tool manages you. It intercepts what you want to do, meters out intelligence like it's your monthly water bill, and dictates the terms directly to you, the user. So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding the alternative. We're looking at a clear battle of paradigms. On one side, we have digital tenancy, this cloud empire where everything is a zero-sum meter utility controlled by an invisible king. But on the exact opposite side, we have the symmetric resolution, agentic sovereignty, or what the sources refer to as Republican compute. This model demands local execution on your very own physical hardware. It creates an inalienable record that completely bypasses those centralized landlords. It literally puts the deed back in your hands. To understand exactly how we get there, let's look at this famous quote from Steve Jobs. He called the computer the equivalent of a bicycle for our minds. I love that. Computers were originally meant to dramatically amplify our innate human abilities and automate all the boring drudgery. But Jobs also predicted the next big leap. Fast forward to today, and his prediction is absolutely coming true. Computers aren't just bicycles anymore. They're evolving into autonomous agents capable of executing incredibly complex, deterministic tasks entirely on our behalf. But there is a massive chasm we have to cross to actually make that happen safely. Human cognition, what the sources playfully refer to as OS alpha, is incredibly messy. We're associative, we're emotional, and we are highly probabilistic. But the machine hardware, the arithmetic logic unit, it is cold, rigid, and strictly mechanical. It has zero understanding of context. So to safely translate our wildly messy human imagination into actual, exact machine reality without causing catastrophic errors, we have to cross what's called the semiotic bridge. I absolutely love how the sources describe this process. We are quite literally tricking rocks into thinking with lightning. To cross that semiotic bridge, the human pilot must apply the creative intent and the overarching strategy. Meanwhile, the AI agent acts as a strict deterministic scripter. The machine is the thing executing the actual computational sweat. There's no magic ghost in the machine here, right? The magic is 100% in your human intent. So, how do everyday users actually pull this off without needing an advanced computer science degree? Well, the sources call it chopsticks engineering. It's about using brilliantly simple surgical maneuvers to entirely bypass those bloated cloud empires. It boils down to 3 straightforward steps. First, secure the physical substrate. That just means actually buy and own your hardware. Second, publish your unalterable intent via text. And third, execute locally. You don't have to tear down the entire internet to fight back. You just have to operate locally. And this is exactly where the theory hits reality. When it comes to securing that physical hardware, the documentation highlights Synology DSM as an incredibly accessible bridge. Think of it as a home network-attached storage appliance that requires 0 enterprise IT skills to run. It lets everyday users, families, and small creators stand up their own local workloads, manage their own private files, and completely break free from endless cloud subscriptions right from their own living room. And this brilliantly illustrates what's possible right now. On a simple, off-the-shelf Synology box, you can host incredibly powerful decentralized applications yourself. We're talking Mastodon for social networking, PeerTube for federated video, Matrix for highly secure chat, and Write Freely for publishing. These tools prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you don't need multi-trillion-dollar enterprise server monopolies to own your communications and your audience. You can run the whole shebang yourself. Now, take that local hardware ownership and combine it with AI, and we arrive at the absolute frontier, the agentic web. According to recent research, we are shifting toward a brand new phase of the internet, defined by autonomous, goal-driven interactions. Imagine your locally hosted AI agent not just answering questions, but physically interacting directly with a blockchain, like actually reading a crypto wallet balance and securely executing a token swap entirely on its own. It's totally awe-inspiring. This is seamless machine-to-machine interaction, flawlessly executing your human intent, which introduces this really cool concept of leaf node logistics. Instead of piping all your precious private data all the way up the trunk of the network into some massive, centralized corporate tank, you keep your execution at the extreme edges, the leaf nodes. By doing this, independent creators and totally normal mom-and-pop workers can orchestrate massive digital operations natively on their own machines, completely, 100% bypassing the tech monopolies, which fundamentally upgrades your role in all of this. As we enter this new agent-to-agent economy, you are no longer just generating content or clicking shiny buttons in some proprietary corporate interface. You become the sovereign pilot. You become the ultimate algorithmic orchestrator, architecting actual meaning. By anchoring your digital truth to your own physical hardware, your digital legacy becomes as untouchable and sovereign as your physical front door. So I want to leave you with a final provocative thought based on everything we've looked at in our analysis today. As the very architecture of the web evolves right in front of us and massive tech giants push aggressively for a total cloud enclosure, what role are you going to play? Will you passively accept this automated miasma, acting as a mere tenant, renting your capabilities from an invisible agentic king? Or will you claim your rightful role as a sovereign pilot, saddle up your own hardware, and ride? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the systems around you, and I'll catch you next time.